I've really been digging stories of coincidence lately, and I started thinking about my own life and how many crazy coincidences have happened. And like, for instance, my parents in 1970, the year I was born, bought this Encyclopedia Britannica set that came with, as a bonus, this children's Britannica set. And you know, they weren't the fancy brown leather wrapped volumes that my parents had. They were the white covers with colorful pictures like rocket ships and cowboys and other appealing things to children. And they were with me from my earliest memories, and I read them all through my life. And me and my brother took them with us to every shitty town we lived in, every move, all these different schools and houses and trailers and apartments and divorces and crap we went through. We always had these books. And right up to our, what I would call our last family home, where my mom and my brother and I lived, and my mom finally moved out with a boyfriend, and I moved out and started a family of my own, and my brother stayed on with a couple buddies as roommates. And those books were still there. And I remember at 22, my brother phoned me and said, you know, they're going to tear down the 2nd Street house. And so I went for one last look around, and I go down to the basement to our old jam room where we used to play with our band. And there behind a leaning piece of plywood is a stack of books. And I'm like, oh my God, the Children's Britannica. I can't leave these here. These mean so much to me, my memories. And so I scoop them up, but to my chagrin, I realized that one of the volumes is missing. The #1 book, the book with the alligators and aeroplanes, one of 16, it's missing. And I don't know, call me crazy, but I can't even stand the thought of taking that set away with one volume missing and keeping it in my house. You know, it would be incomplete and would just be weird, and my brain just wouldn't allow it. I have to just leave them there, good riddance, they're a piece of my childhood, let the house get mowed down. But then suddenly, as I was about to walk out, I went, no, okay, there's this used bookstore, right, down by my place in Sapperton Village. I'll just take them there, and I'll look, and if by some fluke, 1 in a million, they got this single volume, and I can put the set back together, you know, I'll do it. And then otherwise, I'm going down to the gas station on the corner, throwing them in the dumpster, and be done with them. Because I will not take them home incomplete. It would always drive me nuts to the rest of my life where the hell that A volume went. So, I take them down to this bookstore, I park my car on Columbia, I go in, and I spend about 35-40 minutes looking at every shelf, every table, front room, back room, with all these people mulling around looking at dusty old books, and I'm like saying to myself, this is crazy, I gotta get out of this place, right? This is stupid. And as I'm about to leave and go throw the books away, the old lady behind the counter says, can I help you find something? And I said, no, it's okay. And I told her my story real quick. I said, it's 1 in a million. She goes, I noticed you didn't look in that cardboard box under that table. And she goes, I do believe there are some single encyclopedia volumes in that one. So what do I got to lose? I pull it out and I look, and there were encyclopedia volumes, singles, but from like adult books, the brown leather, the black leather bindings. And I dug down, and I was almost to the bottom of the box, and I was just about to push it back away, and I saw suddenly a little glint of white. And then I pulled the books further apart, and I saw a splash of color. And I dug down, and I plummeted my hand in there, and I reached in, and I pulled up the #1 volume from the 1970 Children's Britannica, all by itself. I paid $1 for it. And I took it home, and I had my complete set again, and I put them on the shelf, and I was all glowing and happy. And then I realized, what are the odds of that? That has to be 1 in a million or better, that I would go right down to this bookstore 3 miles away and find this exact 1 volume from the same year and same set I was looking for. And I don't really have a good explanation, other than I started thinking to myself, geez, you know, I somehow knew this. Subconsciously, I've been hypnotized, I got drunk and forgot it, I don't know, but somehow I must have known that book was there. That's the only explanation. It's actually the book from my set, and somehow I know it's there. So then, to prove my theory, I pulled 2 books down and started looking at the inside covers, comparing all the publishing information and the numbers and the dates, 1970, and right down to the bottom, and I thought, oh yeah, they're from the same set for sure. Then I got to the bottom, and it said the publisher's names. William Benton on my set, and Helen Hemingway Benton, his wife, had published this other run. So they were not from the same set. And I don't know what happened to the other 15 books from that A book, and I don't know what happened to my A book, and I hope by some magic of the universe, the guy with those other 15 books somehow found my A book. Because I still have those 16 books in my house today, 37 years after my parents got them as a free gift from a smooth-talking encyclopedia salesman, and I will never throw them away. That's true. Thank you. Coincidences do happen all over the place, and I'll just finish with a couple more that happened in one little story about when I was 11 and my brother Dave was 9, and my dad decided it was okay for us to take the bus from Prince George, BC by ourselves all the way down to the big city here and transfer at the Vancouver Greyhound and get on another bus on the ferry bound over to the island, and then at Nanaimo up the island highway all the way up past Courtney to a place called Black Creek. But we did, Black Creek, BC, and we went by ourselves. I was 11 and Dave was 9. And I remember that big Greyhound dropping us off on the side of the island highway with our suitcases and roared away and left us standing there. From this old beat up gas station. I remember the place from when I was a kid because I used to live around there. There was an old purple race car always there. It was gone. But we went up to the payphone and dialed the big old dial. You know that takes like 10 minutes to dial a 7-digit number. That was before you had to dial the area code too. It was good times. And my grandpa picked us up in his old VW Beetle, and he took us to his place. And the great thing I remember about Grandpa's place at Black Creek was he was like 5 minutes walk from Miracle Beach, which if you've ever been there, it's my favorite beach in all the world. It's beautiful. And we were walking on Miracle Beach that very night we got there. Grandpa took us for a walk on Miracle Beach, and we had the place all to ourselves. There was no one out there. The moon was up. It was plenty light. The waves were rolling in. We were walking along, balancing on the logs. I remember my brother Dave was 9, and he said to my grandpa Rudy, he said, "Grandpa, do miracles happen on Miracle Beach?" And my grandpa said, "I don't know about miracles, but I know that coincidences sure do." And we went, "Really? What do you mean?" He said, "Well," he goes, "you got to go back to when I was in the service about 35 years ago or so." He goes, "Me and my air squadron, we traveled down to Palm Springs on a peacetime mission, and we ended up in this bar called the Turtle Bar." And we said, "The Turtle Bar, what's that?" And he said, "Well, it's this bar that if you buy a round of drinks for everybody in the place, you become an honorary turtle for life." And we said, "Okay, what does that mean? What does that get you?" And he said, "Well, it doesn't get you anything, but what it does mean is that from then on, wherever you go in the world, and no matter who you meet and how old you live, if anybody anywhere ever asks you, 'Are you a turtle?' you have to answer, 'You bet your sweet ass I am.'" And we thought this was hilarious, right? And we said, "But that's a great story, but what does that got to do with coincidence?" He said, "Well, just a couple of months ago," he said, "I was walking on this very beach on a night like this, and I had the place all to myself." He said, "He came along a little tiny campfire, and this old guy sitting there at this little fire on the beach at night, a neat old guy sitting there stirring the coals with a stick, and they started talking. He was a neat old guy, and the old codgers started chatting back and forth. Finally, Grandpa Rudy said he noticed the time was getting late, and it was time to leave, and he started walking off, and he waved at the guy, and he said, 'Nice meeting you,' and the guy said, 'Nice meeting you.' And as he was just about to travel away, he felt a tingling at the back of his skull, and he turned back, and he said he didn't know why he asked him, but he looked at the old guy, and he said, By any chance, are you a turtle?" And the old man looked at him over that fire, and he said, "You bet your sweet ass I am." Now, me and my brother thought this was amazing. Coincidences really do happen on Miracle Beach. That's cool. And we're walking along the logs, balancing like this. And no sooner had I finished hearing the story and had that thought than the back of my skull began to tingle a little. And I noticed off in the distance, absolutely true, it looked like a mirror image of us coming at ourselves. 2 kids balancing on logs and a grandpa walking alongside. And then I got closer and I realized that it was actually just 2 kids balancing on the logs like us and a grandpa with them just like we had our grandpa. But it was when we got within range of seeing the whites of their eyes that me and my brother Dave nearly shit ourselves. We realized it was our next door neighbor kids from Prince George walking with their grandpa. We were like, "What the hell?" Anyway, that's my Miracle Beach story. I'm going to let somebody else take this wonderful stage. Thanks, Phil. Thanks a lot for having me.